Hey everyone, I'm Tom and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a booktube tradition at this point in the year, and that is the mid-year freakout book tag. So let's go ahead and jump right into it with the first question, which is what is the best book that you have read this year? And for me, this was also my most anticipated book of the year, which is awesome that it met those expectations, and that is The Caretaker by Marcus Kilwer, or Cleaver, I think is how you pronounce it. I'm still not 100% sure. I should really figure it out because he is quickly becoming one of my favorite authors. He's 2 for 2 for me. We Used to Live Here last year was one of 3 books I gave a 5-star rating, and this year he followed it up with The Caretaker. It's set in the same kind of universe. The old house archives is kind of like the universe that this is being built into, and this story takes place in that. And I gave this one a 4-star, but it is my favorite book of the year so far. It just hits on so many of the same things that made We Used to Live Here so great, but did it in a different way, different plot, some different kinds of things going on. Obviously, I didn't like it as much. It got a 4-star versus a 5-star, but it is pretty much everything I wanted. There was just this one, I kind of described it as it's a little bit more fast-paced, where We Used to Live Here took its time a little bit more. And I think that's really the biggest difference, and maybe why I enjoyed We Used to Live Here a little bit more than The Caretaker, but it still has the #1 spot right here, or at this point in the year. We'll see if it can stay there. There's some heavy hitters coming later in the year, and some other stuff that I plan to read. So I think it has a good shot, but always hunting for that first 5-star. Next up is what is the best sequel you have read? And for me, it is part of the great Wars of Light and Shadow read along I'm a part of with a bunch of other people, and that is Peril's Gate by Jenny Wirtz. This is, what is this? Hold on. This is book 3 of the Alliance of Light arc, which I believe makes this book 7 in the series as a whole. Obviously, I can't say too much, but my favorite moment probably in the entire series happens in this book. So much happens in this book as well. It's kind of crazy. But there are some chats about this that you can find on the various channels. If you search for this, you'll find it. There's not too many people who have made it this far into the series, which is a shame because it is absolutely a true epic fantasy in every way, shape, and form. And I think you should read it for sure. And it is definitely my favorite sequel. It has just been a whirlwind of a journey getting through that series. Next up is new releases you haven't read yet but want to, and I have 2 on the list. The first one being The Last Contract of Isako by Fonda Lee. This is sci-fi standalone. I think I saw some people talking about the marketing for this book and stuff, and that maybe it wasn't presented in a true light of the story, but that doesn't have me any less interested in reading the story. I'm still kind of interested in it. I've only read one Fonda Lee book, and it was actually her little novella, Untethered Skies, I think is what it was called. And so that's the only thing I've read from her. So I would like to read this and maybe at some point get to the Greenbone Saga. And then the only other thing is the Book of Fallen Leaves by A.S. Tamaka. This is something that came out earlier this year. It had a lot of hype because of the cover. The cover is very cool. But I don't actually really remember too many people talking about it, or I just completely have forgotten at this point, which is totally possible, but it is still one, mostly because of the cover, that I am kind of interested in getting to, maybe at some point this year. Last year I did a really good job of staying up on new releases, and this year not as much, but also not too bad. And most of that is because my most anticipated new releases are coming in the second half of the year, which is the next question. What are my most anticipated books for the second half of the year? First up, and probably the most of any of them, is Please Remain Seated. This is a short story collection by Marcus Cleaver. Cleaver. We're going to go with Cleaver in this video. I'll probably switch between it again here. But yeah, it is a collection of 3 short stories. 2 are set in the Old House universe, and 1 is a standalone kind of just horror short story. So very interested in that. Like I said, this is quickly becoming one of my favorite authors. And so to get more from that universe, more from him just in general, I think is going to be awesome, and very excited for that. That comes out in September. I think all of these except 1 come in September. So Exit Party is another one by Emily St. John Mandel. I honestly don't remember too much about this. I know I pre-ordered it while I was watching one of Jimmy's live streams where he was talking about it. I think there's a bunch of people who are going to be reading it together. And yeah, that's why it's on this list. I don't even really remember what the selling point was, but while I was listening to people talk about it, I was like, oh, I definitely want to read this. So that one is on the list. And then last up is The Horde of the Counterwind by Alani Damiso. And this is a French story being translated to English for the first time. And this is apparently the book that the video game Expedition 33 was based on. Now, I haven't played Expedition 33 yet. I really want to. I'll get to it at some point, probably in the next 8 years, because that's about the pace I play video games at this point. But one of my really good friends said it's the best story video game he's ever played. And so when he said that, and I saw that this book is what it's kind of loosely based on, and this is apparently like a French classic, like this is like a pillar of French sci-fi from the little bit of research I did, I'm very interested in getting into something like that. It sounds super cool, and just very excited for that one. So those are the three most anticipated ones. I think there's maybe one or two other ones that I couldn't remember while I was making this list. So next up, and this is a sad one, I always hate talking about it, but it's the biggest disappointment. And the biggest disappointment for me this year was definitely Midnight Tides. That is just a book that didn't work for me. I've had if you've been around the channel for a while, you know that I've had a very interesting time with my Malazan journey. It's been very up and down, hit and miss, even inside of books. There have been, like Dead House Gates is a perfect example. There were parts of that books that I despised and parts of it that I thought were some of the best writing and reading that I've ever done, right? And that has kind of just been like an encapsulation of my journey with Malazan, and Midnight Tides just did not work for me. I was so happy when I was done with the book, not because it had a great ending or anything. I just wanted to be done with it so bad. I still think I'm going to continue on with Malazan at some point, but I don't know. It's one of those ones where this one really shook me. I read this, I think, in January. So it was one of the first things I read this year. And, obviously it did not set up Malazan. I really wanted to get through some more Malazan this year, and Midnight Tide just put a halt to that right away. But every now and again, I still do get the itch to go back to it. So maybe at some point I will. Next up, on a little bit of a brighter note, is what is my biggest surprise of the year? And this feels a little funny to say because Brandon Sanderson has written a lot. He's written some of my favorite books, but Isles of the Emberdark surprised me immensely. I have really enjoyed most of the secret projects, but this just blew me away. I enjoyed it so much. I don't know if it's because I missed Sanderson's writing, if I missed the Cosmere in general, but when I finished Isles of the Emberdark, I was upset that I didn't immediately have another Cosmere book I could dive into. I know, Fires of December comes out later this year, and I am now super excited for that just because I want to get back to it. I read all of the Cosmere in 2023, and then the last thing I read, I think, it was either Sunlit Man or Wind and Truth, whichever order those kind of came out in is the order I read them in. And Sunlit Man was definitely probably is my least favorite of the secret projects, and then Wind and Truth is probably my second or my least favorite Stormlight Archive book. And so not that I dislike those, because I think I liked Wind and Truth more than most people, but Isles of the Emberdark just scratched like this perfect itch for me for Sanderson. And I kind of went into it just expecting it to be good. I didn't expect to be like blown away or super entrenched in it in any way, but I absolutely was. And yeah, I can't wait for more Cosmere stuff, which is a really good feeling to have. Next up is my favorite new author, and it can be a debut or new to you. And for me, that is going to be JCM Byrne. This is from the Hybrid Helix series, the first book being Wistful Ascending, and I just absolutely had a great time with that book, and I can't wait to get to more of that series as the year continues. I don't have a definite plan when I'm going to read it. I'm about to go on vacation, so probably whenever I get back from that and I get settled back in after everything that goes with that, I'll probably add that back into the TBR because I had such a good time with that book. So JCM already up there as my new favorite author of this year so far. The next question is your newest fictional crush. I don't know. I don't really. This is one of those questions where I'm like, I never really have it. She's not new, but if I had to like pick somebody, Alara from The Wars of Light and Shadow is like a ride or die character who I think should be fantastic. So I'll say her, even though she's not new to me because she's been in the series and I've been reading it for so long. But that's what I'm going to do. Next up is your new favorite character, and this is going to go right back to JCM Byrne with Rohan, the main character of Wistful Ascending and the Hybrid Helix series. He was just an awesome character. Once again, that book just worked so well for me on so many levels, and once again, can't wait to get back to it. Next up is a book that made you cry, and so far this year, a book has not made me cry. The closest has come is definitely some of the stuff that happened in Storm Fortress. In particular, I think was probably the one. Peril's Gate, there was some stuff also, but that was close. But it was almost that I was so shocked that some of the things happened that I just I don't know, it didn't hit me the same way that sometimes things that have made me cry in books do. But they were immensely sad and impactful. And I reread the same couple paragraphs 8 or 9 times to make sure what happened just actually happened, because I've just was pretty devastated by it. But for whatever reason, tears did not come, though I was very, very sad by that. Question number 11 is a book that made you happy, and JCM Byrne has been getting a lot of hype here towards the end of this video, but Wistful Ascending, I just had a smile on my face the whole time I was reading that book, and it's a fun, good time, but there's also some like serious moments in it, some deeper emotional stuff. It just kind of really is a book that clicked on all cylinders. And then question number 12 is the most beautiful book you have bought or received so far this year. So I'm going to cheat a little bit and talk about a comic. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it because I didn't take it out of the wrapping. So I'm going to try to move this around. But this is from the first volume of Godzilla versus, or the Justice League versus Godzilla versus King Kong. This is a variant cover from the first bind up of that, or the first couple issues. And so really like that one. Nice full art and everything. And then speaking of that series, here is the second set of that that has some like awesome art in it. You always really enjoy Godzilla, big monster, kaiju stuff is definitely up my alley. I definitely also want to mention Ill is the Fate by Chance Dillon. And I don't know how much of the art he has shared to everybody else yet, but getting to be friends with him and in the Discord that is linked in the description, I've seen some of the art that is coming for the series, and like this art is great. I really like it. But some of the art he has coming for the series is just like next level awesome as well. It's a different art style. So it's kind of hard to compare between the more I cannot speak today. Minimalist. Okay, well, apparently I can't say that word today. Minimalist? Okay, anyway, the more reserved style, there we go, and the style he has coming in the future. Oh man, can't talk today. But the real champion has got to be the Dragonsteel Eye of the World leatherbound. This book is beautiful. I do think I have some issues with it. There's been, if you have been a part of this, I mean, just like, this is the normal cover, but the art in here is great, and just everything about it is beautiful. I do think I'm going to probably end up having to get a new edition of it because I think some of the gold foiling on mine is not up to the standard it's supposed to be, and some of the stuff that happened with that specifically on the spine, though I have seen much worse examples. But this book is amazing, and I know I'm sure all of the stuff that they have done to fix some of those issues are going to pay off and everything. But that book is amazing, and I can't wait to have all of them on my shelf. I really kind of wish they were doing more than one a year because I don't want to wait 15 years to have a full collection, but that's okay. Maybe at some point they'll ramp it up. And then the last question is, what books do you still need to read by the end of the year? Obviously, I mentioned some of the new releases that are coming, so I definitely want to read those. I definitely want to read To Ride Hell's Chasm. I'm going to buddy read this with Shea from Zachary Shea later this year, or I think in July. We said, yeah, July is the plan for this. So I definitely want to do that. Obviously finish Wars of Light and Shadow. That's part of the read along. We're doing, one about every 2 months. And so that will put us to finishing that series by this year, which is a crazy thing to say that I'm finally going to be done with that series. It's been one that I've been reading for a long time, and the journey has been amazing. It's been a great story, but I'm kind of at the point where I'm very curious on how this series is going to end. I feel like there's some really big things that are going to happen here as we get towards the end of the series, and very much looking forward to that. And then the last one I will mention is going to be Morningstar. So I currently have a hold in at the library for that audiobook. I think it's currently sitting at 10 weeks, but whenever that comes in, I definitely want to read it, finish out the first part of that trilogy, and see if I want to move on to the sequel trilogy right away, or if I want to wait till we have a little bit more information about Red God, so I'm not like waiting super long. But yeah, that is really it. I would love to know your answers to all of this down below in the comments. Specifically, I would love to know what your favorite and least favorite book of the year have been so far. I am going to do my top 10 books of the year next week, so be on the lookout for me on that. But yeah, that is all for me. And remember, read what you want when you want.